May 29th, Nehemiah 12 and 13. Nehemiah 12. And these were the priests and the Levites who came up with Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua, Sariah, Yirmiah, Ezra, Amariah, Maluk, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Merimoth, Iddo, Guinea Thori, got a phone call. Start back at 4. Iddo, Guinea Thori, Abiyah, Miyamin, Maadiyah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Yorib, Yediah, Salu, Amak, Hilkiah, Yediah. These were the heads of the priests and their brothers in the days of Yeshua. And the Levites, Yeshua, Binui, Gadmiel, Sherebiah, Yehuda, Mathaniah over the thanksgiving, and he and his brothers. Bakbukiah, Uni, their brothers, were opposite them for guard duties. Yeshua brought forth Yoyakim, and Yoyakim brought forth Elishib, and Elishib brought forth Yoyada, and Yoyada brought forth Jonathan, and Jonathan brought forth Yadua. And in the days of Yoyakim, the priests, the heads of the fathers' houses were Sariah, Meriah, Yirmiah, Hananiah, Ezra, Meshulam, Amariah, Yoyanan of Miliku, Jonathan, Shebaniah, Yosef of Harim, Adan of Morioth, Hilkai of Iddo, Zachariah of Ginnethon, Meshullam of Abiyah, Zikri, son of Minyamin, of Moadiah, Piltai of Bilgah, Shamua of Shemaiah, Yehonathan of Yoyarib, Mattanai of Yediah, Uzi of Salai, Kalai of Amok, Eber of Hilkiah, Hashabiah of Yediah, Nathanael. The Levites and the priests in the days of Elishib, Yehoda, Yoyada, Yohanan, and Yadua were recorded as heads of their fathers' houses. Also the priests in the reign of Darius the Persian, the sons of Levi, the heads of their fathers' houses, until the days of Yohanan, son of Elishib, were written in the books of the annals. And the heads of the Levites were Hashabiah, Cherubiah, Yeshua, son of Gadmiel, with their brothers opposite them, to praise, to give thanks, watch opposite watch, according to the command of David, the man of Elohim. Mattaniah and Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, Akub were gatekeepers guarding at the storerooms of the gates. These were in the days of Yoakim, son of Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest, the scribe. And at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought out the Levites in all their places, to bring them to Jerusalem to perform the dedication with gladness, and with thanksgivings, and with singing, cymbals, harps, and lyres. And the sons of the singers gathered together from the countryside around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Netophathites, and from the house of Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba and Asmoeth, for the singers had built themselves villages all around Jerusalem. And the priests and the Levites cleansed themselves, and they cleansed the people, and the gates, and the walls. And I brought the rulers of Judah up on the wall, and appointed 2 large thanksgiving choirs to go to the right on the wall toward the dung gate. And after them went Hoshea and half the rulers of Judah, then Azariah, Ezra, and Meshullam, Judah and Benjamin, and Shemaiah, Yirmiah, and of the sons of the priests with trumpets, Zechariah, son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Milkiah, son of Zechar, son of Asaph, and his brothers, Shemaiah and Azarel, Milalai, Gilalai, Ma'ai, Nathanael, and Yehuda, Hanai with instruments of songs of David, the man of Elohim, with Ezra the scribe before them. And at the fountain gate, and straight ahead of them, they went up the stairs of the city of David, on the stairway of the wall beyond the house of David, as far as the water gate eastward. And the other thanksgiving choir went over against them, and I behind them, with half of the people on the wall, going past the tower of the ovens as far as the broad wall. And above the gate of Ephraim, and above the old gate, and above the fish gate, and the tower of Hananel, and the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate. And they stood still at the gate of the prison. Then the 2 thanksgiving choirs took their stand in the house of Elohim, and I and half the deputy rulers with me, and the priests, Eliakim, Manasseh, Minyamin, Milkiah, Elioenai, Zechariah, and Hananiah with trumpets, and Maaseiah, and Shemaiah, and Eleazar, and Uzi, and Johanan, and Milkiah, and Elam, and Ezer. And the singers sang aloud, with Yizrahiah in charge. And on that day they slaughtered great slaughterings and rejoiced, for Elohim had made them rejoice with great joy. And the women and the children also rejoiced, so that the joy of Jerusalem was heard far away. And on that day some were appointed over the rooms, for the stores, for the contributions, for the firstfruits, and for the tithes, to gather into them from the fields of the cities the portions required by the Torah for the priests and for the Levites. For Judah rejoiced over the priests and the Levites who stood up. Both the singers and the gatekeepers guarded the charge of their Elohim and the charge of the cleansing, according to the command of David and Solomon his son. For in the days of David and Asaph of old, there were chiefs of the singers, and songs of praise and thanksgiving to Elohim. And in the days of Zerubbabel, and in the days of Nehemiah, all Israel gave the portions for the singers and the gatekeepers, a portion for each day. And they set apart what was for the Levites, and the Levites set apart that what was for the children of Aaron. Nehemiah 13. On that day was read from the book of Moses in the hearing of the people, and in it was found written that an Ammonite and Moabite should not come into the assembly of Elohim forever, because they had not met the children of Israel with bread and water, and hired Balaam against them to curse them, although Elohim had turned the curse into a blessing. And it came to be, when they heard the Torah, that they separated all the mixed multitude from Israel. And before this, Eliashib the priest, having authority over the storerooms of the house of our Elohim, was a relative of Tobiah. And he had prepared for him a large room, where previously they had stored the grain offerings, the frankincense, and the utensils, and the tithes of grain, the new wine, and the oil, which were commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the gatekeepers, and the contribution for the priests. But in all this I was not in Jerusalem. For the 32nd year of Artashasta, sovereign of Babel, I came to the sovereign. And after some days I asked a leave from the sovereign to return. And I came to Jerusalem, and learned of the evil which Eliashib had done for Tobiah, in preparing a room for him in the courts of the house of Elohim, and it was very displeasing to me. Therefore I threw all the household goods of Tobiah out of the room, and I commanded them to cleanse the rooms. And I put back into them the utensils of the house of Elohim, with the grain offering and the frankincense. And I learned that the portions for the Levites had not been given them, for each of the Levites and the singers who did the work had gone back to his field. Then I contended with the deputy rulers, and said, Why is the house of Elohim forsaken? And I gathered them together, and set them in their place. And all Judah brought the tithe of the grain, and the new wine, and the oil to the storehouse. And I appointed as treasurers over the storehouse Shelemiah the priest, and Zadok the scribe, and Pedaiah of the Levites. And at their hand was Hanan son of Zucker, son of Massaniah, for they were reckoned trustworthy, and it was on them to distribute to their brothers. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this, and do not wipe out my loving commitments that I have done for the house of my Elohim, and for its charges. In those days I saw in Judah those treading winepresses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and loading donkeys with wine, grapes, and figs, and all kinds of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. So I warned them in the day that they sold food. And men of Zor dwelt there, bringing in fish and all kinds of goods, and sold them on the Sabbath to the children of Judah and in Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Judah, and said to them, What evil matter is this that you are doing, profaning the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers do the same, so that our Elohim brought all this evil on us and on this city? Yet you bring added wrath on Israel by profaning the Sabbath. And it came to be, when the gates of Jerusalem were shaded before the Sabbath, that I commanded the doors to be shut, and I commanded they should not be opened until after the Sabbath. And I stationed some of my servants at the gates, so that no burdens would be brought in on the Sabbath day. And the merchants and sellers of all kinds of wares spent the night outside of Jerusalem once or twice. And I warned them, and said to them, Why do you spend the night around the wall? If you do so again, I lay hands on you. From that time on they came no more on the Sabbath. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and they should come, guarding the gates, to set apart the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my Elohim, concerning this also, and pardon me according to the greatness of your loving commitment. In those days I also saw Yahudim, who had married women of Ashad, Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab, and half of their children spoke the language of Ashdod, and could not speak the language of Judah, but spoke according to the language of one or the other people. And I contended with them and cursed them, and struck some of them, and pulled out their hair, and made them swear by Elohim, saying, You do not give your daughters as wives to their sons, nor take their daughters for your sons or yourselves. Did not Solomon, sovereign of Israel, sin because of them? Among the nations there was no sovereign like him, who was beloved of his Elohim. And Elohim made him sovereign over all Israel. Even him foreign women caused to sin. Should we then hear of your doing all this great evil, trespassing against our Elohim by marrying foreign wives? And one of the sons of Yoyada, son of Elishib, the high priest, was a son-in-law of Shanballat the Horonite, and I drove him from me. Remember them, O my Elohim, because they have defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. Thus I cleansed them from all that is foreign. And I appointed deputies to the priests and the Levites, each in his task, and for the wood offering and the first fruits at appointed times. Remember me, O my Elohim, for good.